Fall. Yeah. I was reading this code pleading. Yeah. This type of system of pleading is practiced in most states of the U.S. Pleading refers to a statement of an issue or issues brought before a court of law. Yeah. Now, being a U.S. citizen, I'm not an attorney. Yes. But I noticed there's kind of this weird way that public defenders and prosecuting attorneys address certain issues. Now, in this state of Washington, motion to dismiss, the plaintiff is the state of Washington. The state of Washington is actually the plaintiff. Paul Budnick is defendant. Comes now. Now that must mean the pleading, the code of pleading. Now, when you think about it, why would it say comes now? Now, there seemed to be this problem with the word C-O-M-E, and you could do super top secret, see United Nations, man, I, pooch. Now, as in nation, United Nations world, pooch, choo, 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 choo. But comes now, the defendant Paul Budnick misspelled by and through his or her attorney Bruce Hannafy, so on and so forth. This motion is based on the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 3 of the United States Constitution, and RCW 1014-08 CR 8.3, and reconciled attached certified statement to counsel, respectively submitted, though it's not signed. Yes! Now you have the state of Washington, that is the plaintiff, versus Paul Budnick, the defendant. Comes now. That must be the pleading. Now the state of Washington is prosecuting me as a plaintiff, though the petitioner didn't sign the protection order, and it violates the Domestic Violence Abuse Act, the Violence Against Women's Act, the Constitution of the state of Washington, Constitution in every state of the United States, and the United States Constitution. And yet, and so forth, somebody still decided to come now. Comes now! Now, when you're pleading a case before a judge or jury, and it goes through accept, provide, respond, prison, serve a cop, ex parte order, so on and so forth. Actual notice right there, and then Bruce Hannafy, so on and so forth. Now, you can see that the state of Washington is prosecuting the plaintiff, and Paul Budnick's the defendant. Comes now. The plaintiff, by and through Christopher C. Cowgill, deputy prosecuting attorney for Clallam County, state of Washington, moves the court to deny defense's motion to dismiss. Now, when you have a pleading judicial system, I mean, we are pleading with you, Judge, that this man is a criminal, even though he was arrested without being in the actual city. Even though you issued a protection order that violated his constitutional rights. Even though he emailed those in law enforcement, those that are judges and justices and prosecuting attorneys and public defenders, still we're pleading a case when it should have been removed. Now, for any attorney to plead a case that violates the Constitution, you would have thought both the prosecuting attorney and the public defender would have sued the state of Washington because of their attorney oaths. Now, somebody's been playing fish family organized judiciary where, while we ignore what the law says, we ignore that no actual notice was given before it was issued, we ignore that according to the law, there must be proper and timely notice of the protection order before there can be a court hearing. We ignore every law! Now, when you go to pleading a case, when you know that there's no signature of the petitioner, so it's the state of Washington that issued it, $100 billion right down the tube, okay? Now, when I told the state of Washington, I'm sorry, I'm going to sue this state for every asset in the state. Every asset. because it's the state of Washington that's coming now. Now, for any person that's a sworn oath of office to involve themselves in anything involving this protection order when they know it violates the VAWA, poo-poo. It violates the Domestic Violence Protection Act. It violates every constitution in every nation of the world that has due process rights. It violates every constitution of every state and the United States Constitution, and yet still, they decide they're going to plead the case. Now, at a certain point, you don't motion a court to plead a case when the original court order violated the rights of the respondent, the minors, and numerous federal laws. Now, the whole code of pleading. Now, when we go through that code of pleading in the United States judicial system, and we look at exactly what that means, that the state of Washington decided to plead a case where I was arrested, but I wasn't in Squim on that day. The system of pleading, as practiced in most states of the United States, pleading refers to a statement of an issue or issues brought before a court of law. You can't come now the pleading without proper jurisdiction.